Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a good one for you going into the weekend and a holiday weekend here in the United States for people. Let's see what happens to price. We're going to hear from the technical analysts and see what they say to pay attention to, whether it comes to price targets or support lines. So we'll get a look at that. We're also going to talk about some important Bitcoin news that I think you're going to want to hear. And Flare Networks, I have a question for you about this. I'm very excited about Flare, and we're within about a month or so of Flare launching. So let's get into it. Plus a lot of other news coming from Ripple. We'll hear from Brooks Entwistle from Ripple in the APAC region and from Brad Garlinghouse with a well-needed reminder. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove and everything that we're talking about here today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you sign up for the free newsletter when it comes out. Get on all of those lists. Make sure you definitely hit the like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. We're really pushing hard. I do believe we are on the precipice of a huge bull cycle for cryptos and XRP, regardless of what we're looking at right now, which is a huge sea of red. So here we are sitting at Bitcoin at 36,000 plus and Ethereum at 2,500 plus, up a little bit from this morning. Cardano sitting at 154 and XRP at the number 6 spot, courtesy of dereliction of duty and intimidation tactics from the SEC. We're sitting at 90 cents this morning, off by 10% over the 24-hour, a little more, and off by 13.5% on the 7-day. Let's take a look at the ranging really quickly before we get into the news this morning. We're at 90 cents this morning. We're ranging between 85 cents, which is where we were this morning when we made our first video, and then ranging all the way to 101. So we'll get into that in just a few moments. Let's go ahead and look at some news here if we can get it to come up right, and it is, thank goodness. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary says institutions will not touch Bitcoin until it is green enough. This is really coming down to the sustainability problem, forcing everything that is proof of work, especially Bitcoin, to deal with its energy consumption issues that it has. Now, up until now, we've heard Anthony Pompliano and Michael Saylor make great arguments about how Bitcoin is much cheaper than what it costs the world to do business today in the manner that it does. True story. Problem is, there's plenty enough technology out here, as Julia Chatterley has highlighted, that is a better tech than Bitcoin can serve for payments. That doesn't mean Bitcoin is dead. It just means that Bitcoin is not a payment solution at the moment. Now, we're going to get into that as we unfold here. Let's take a look at the next piece here. JP Morgan says to stay away from Bitcoin. And we know that this is not the first time that Jamie Dimon has said this. We know that he was saying he would fire anybody that worked for him a couple of years ago. Then they changed their tune and said they were have it, they acquire it and all this. And now they're back to saying that they wouldn't get near it for the near term at least. And all I have to say about this is that this is a huge flag to me that there is something coming for proof of work and the sustainable energy, renewable energy side of this, and having to change how Bitcoin is mined and in the regions where it is mined and not done in a renewable, sustainable way. Now, this is just a quick reminder that while all of this is going on, Ripple partner BNY Mellon taps real-time payment network for digital bill pay. Excuse me, I can't talk today. So there's nothing but good news going on while all of this dark cloud is hanging over Bitcoin. Australian tax office warns investors to report crypto and gains and losses. Now, this is interesting because we know that the IRS recently here in the United States has become a part of the conversation that they really want to define crypto, figure out how to tax it. It's currently taxed as property right now, but that may not be the end to it all, right? So we're going to have to see. But coming back to the Bitcoin issue, it was a few weeks ago, back in April, that, well, I guess more than a month ago now, but Ripple's Chris Larson said Bitcoin should move away from proof of work and move to a proof of stake model. And this is interesting to me because I have said that, it leans into me saying, okay, why is everyone all of a sudden dealing with the energy consumption, which was an issue from day one, and now it's really an issue for which we know Ripple and XRP can serve to this demand without any issue whatsoever, right? Because they're very, very low energy consumption. So when I look at this and I say, okay, well, what does Chris Larsen know that he would want to come out now and make a call to action for Bitcoin and all the developers of the network and this, that, and the other to move from proof of work to proof of stake? Might we be going and moving to a regulatory framework that may require proof of work to be staked because of the energy consumption? I don't know the answer to this. I'm speculating, but I do feel something is coming because we know that the World Economic Forum and other entities have discussed a carbon footprint tax, which I do believe is coming to Bitcoin and proof of work, and why this call of action has been made popular by Chris Larsen. And obviously, soon after this came out, what did we see? Anthony Pompliano and Kevin O'Leary come out with a failed pizza box campaign, which honestly is horrible. But it goes to show that, that's why central banks won't be using Bitcoin for a payment network, because a pizza box campaign doesn't really suffice when it comes to dealing with the level of central banks. 204 million XRP were shifted around, by the way, with RippleWorks and Binance. One has to wonder if we're not headed towards a hashtag relist at some point. All this XRP moving around in the hundreds of millions each week, it seems like now. We see this happening. And shout out to Bank XRP, who reminds us here and tells us that Wand Labs, the people have spoken. XRP has been added to hashtag instant cross. Set up your XRP free. There you go. Clean, fast, and affordable instant cross. Check it out. I mean, that's remarkable to me. It's just one more sign that people, I believe, and companies understand exactly what's at stake here with the SEC Ripple court case, and that it really does make people understand that it's less about Ripple and XRP and more about the crypto space. And I feel like however it comes out, and I think most companies and projects are really falling in line to understand that however this comes out, XRP will be able to move forward. Looking at this right here, Flare Networks is going to be launching. I talked about this in my first video this morning, but I don't think it can be overstated, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big deal. Flare Networks next month sometime within a 2 to 4 week window of June. So this is getting pretty exciting. A utility fork of XRP really going to work for the first time to bring a Flare financial ecosystem. And when we look at this overview, I have to ask you, because they have F assets for Litecoin, Stellar, Dogecoin, and XRP. A reminder that Litecoin and Dogecoin are forks, early forks of Bitcoin. So you have to ask yourself, when do we see the F asset for Bitcoin, which would allow staking, which would also lean heavily back into the understanding of Chris Larsen calling for proof of work to move to proof of stake, because you could stake your Bitcoin if they make it available on Flare Finance and Flare Networks. And wouldn't that be just moments or a week or two before they actually launch Flare Finance, if they actually announced that the FBTC would be possible on that system? I think that would be a great way to bring us up to the edge of the launch of Flare Networks and Flare Finance by telling us you could stake Bitcoin there too. And I think that would be a part of where everything is going. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. This is great to see as well from Bank XRP. This is a list of partnerships for Ripple, and look who's at the top, baby. Look who's at the top. Bank of America. Yeah, don't forget about SBI. How important is SBI? It's really important, because we know over in the APAC region, the Asian Pacific region, not only do we have Adam Trademan over there, but we also have Brooks Entwistle, and he says here why he joined the company to lead the APAC movement there and what's going on. I'll just give you some of this right here. He says, moving fast and light. It's incredibly analogous to startups. He's also a mountain climber here and Colorado native. He's just making sure have the right team in place and the right gear and training. You can work your way through storms and stay together. Brooke Entwistle, managing director and general manager of APAC, told Fin News. In Asia, Singapore-based executive spent 3 decades building scale companies in the FinServe and tech industries, including more than 18 years in Goldman Sachs, and where he was CEO of Singapore, Japan, Southeast Asia, and at Uber, where he is chief business officer of APAC and later chief business officer international. So he says here, it's an exciting place to be at Ripple, basically, because he's pretty convinced the view once we get to the top will be spectacular. And I am too. And I remind people of the SBI tie-in in that area and to keep a lookout for the APAC region because they do have clarity on the asset XRP. And guess what? And so does the UK, which settles an enormous amount of derivatives out of the UK. Right? So 60% I believe, something of that nature, the tune of that number. So really, really incredible stuff. And while all of this melees is happening with the court case, we know Bank of the Four and other areas are really tying in with Ripple in the MENA region, which is the Middle Eastern North Africa region. It just continues the announcement of Ripple partnerships while the SEC Ripple case goes on in the United States. I want to remind everybody really quickly that, the rest of the world has clarity on what XRP is. There's no other part of the world that sees XRP as a security itself. So this is the hang up. What's interesting to me about all of this, it really is that if we have clarity in Japan, Singapore, and the UK, why not in those areas do we not just fire it up and go and take off? Well, because I believe this speaks to a orchestrated international effort. That's why I believe you haven't seen that happen yet. And I believe that what they're sorting out here in the United States is important and it is relevant, but I also believe it is a globally coordinated effort. So although there may be a dissension amongst the regulators and agencies here in the U.S., I do believe the effort is global and international. And as a reminder of that, I just want to say, Brad Garlinghouse reminds us we can unlock trillions of dollars of trapped capital to make global economy more efficient. All the XRP that has ever been created has already been created. So there's zero inflation dynamic. And that is absolutely true. And this is why I believe it's a global effort. If you go back to the World Economic Forum, January of 2020, and you see here on page 17, if we just quickly go down here, many of you have seen it. If you're an OG in the space, here it is. All the central bank digital currencies, the stable coins essentially for those central banks of the world are going to be settled by a neutral asset, either be the JPM coin or XRP, according to the World Economic Forum, not according to me. You'll remember I showed you the Goldman Sachs document the other day, which has been taken down. They took the link down. Why did they take the link down? Well, because they took the link down because there's where the screenshots are, because I was smart enough to screenshot the pages that were important, because the PDF that we had up there was to show that Ripple is the global settlement platform that sits in front of the G7 central banks, really affirming to us that even Goldman Sachs understands that it is from the top down. And this is an international global effort. And I believe that is why we have not seen at this point the other countries go ahead without the United States. More evidence of this is that Ripple does pilot a private ledger for central banks. And the reason they're piloting a private ledger is so they can launch the government digital dollars of the world on this private ledger on top of the XRP ledger. Well, I mean, all of this is speaking to me in a very, very big way. And Mr. B XRP reminds us, don't forget all those financial institutions waiting on the sidelines for XRP to break the chains of the SEC, right? We've been waiting for a bull run so long, we sometimes forget it has massive global utility yet to be realized. That's why I'm here. I'm here, as Jack the Rippler says, for 4 and 5 digits. That's why I'm here. XRP is the most efficient tool to bridge currencies between countries. To bridge these currencies, XRP needs a high price, and I'm not talking about $100 or $1,000. It can't be dirt cheap, as Joel Katz says, and that is absolutely the truth. And before we get out of here, it is dirt cheap right now. It's in the 80, 90 cent range right now. Dark Defender reminds all of us that as much as we want to see the upside at 126, 133, 175, 230 and beyond, $5 plus, 1333, 27 bucks, all these calls are still in play and they're still on the table. But until then, keep an eye out for the 80-cent support line, the 75-cent support line, and the 65-cent support line, because at the end of the day, these may be areas where the price rolls over to until we see that upside. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Share with somebody you know. And don't forget to check out Unstoppable Domains. They are unstoppable. Get your .crypto today. I'll catch all of you on the next one.